Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Saf in the City. I'm your host, Eitan Safra. Today, I have something very important to talk about. Today, I'm going to talk about how to access your true self. And I want to start with something that I've been realizing a lot lately. Let's get right into it. So, one thing I've realized a lot over the past few weeks is that when I'm happy, life is so easy. I'm so outgoing. I'm doing a lot more good deeds. I'm just being a better version of myself. But then when I'm upset, it's leave me alone. I'm lazy. I don't want to do this. And I realized, how could I be such opposite people while I'm all me? And if I want to be my true self, I have to be able to separate good moods from my values. My good days shouldn't really affect my values, like what I'm doing. If I want to dive in and go to the gym, it shouldn't matter if it's raining or if my friend's being mean to me. I should be doing those things anyway. To be our true selves, we have to build our values from the inside, because the outside factors are always going to be inconsistent. Our friends are going to be mean. It's not going to be good weather, like I just mentioned. So let's build it from the inside, because if we could be ourselves all the time, we're going to grow at a lot better pace. We're going to be our true selves. We're going to access the us within that doesn't always get to come out. And to be your true self, you have to figure out your values. And a good way to do that is, if you don't know, to have an honest conversation with yourself or with someone else. And we have to think, what do we do that makes us feel certain ways? I play basketball. How does that make me feel? I hang out with this friend. How does that make me feel? I talk to my mom. How does that make me feel? We have to figure out the things that we do and how they make us feel and assess them, truly assess them. And then we could understand our values. And then once we do that, we could build a consistent routine with our values in our routine. And here's something that I picked up on this week that hopefully I'm really gonna work on. It's a lot easier to keep momentum going than it is to break it. And that's with anything. For me, I noticed it with the gym and waking up. If I'm going to the gym 3 days in a row, that fourth day, it's so much easier for me to go to the gym than not to go to the gym, because I have momentum going. If I'm waking up 3 days in a row, that fourth morning, I want to get up. But it works the same on the other side. If I don't go to the gym 3 days in a row, that fourth day, I do not want to go to the gym. It's barely even a thought. I have to push myself to go. I have to get out of my comfort zone and really, really say, Eitan, go to the gym, because it's a value of mine and I want to go. With waking up, I don't wake up on time 3 days in a row. That fourth day, it's impossible. If we create momentum in the right direction we want to go, it'll be so much easier to keep. In the beginning, it's hard, but the more used to it we get, the better we'll get at it. And then we master the things that we want to master, and we take our values to new challenges. It could be from waking up and making it to the first class to waking up and going on a run and then going on a class. One step at a time, obviously, but we have to build consistency in the right direction. That's the point. And here's another thing that I picked up on. This helps me be my true self, because when I'm in a mood, happy or sad, sometimes these moods could be so intense. And in the moment, I could think I'm thinking clearly, but I'm really not. And the worst thing to do in these moments is for me to make bad decisions, or not even bad decisions, impulsive decisions, because usually impulsive decisions are bad decisions. And we all experience this. We all have happy days. We all have upset days. And instead of thinking in the moment that this is who I am. Oh, I'm always this happy. Because in the moment when you're happy, it feels like that. Life is so good. Everything's good. Even though it's not always like that. Same when you're sad. When you're sad, not every day is like that. Instead of making decisions, what we have to do is understand what these feelings are telling us. These feelings are telling us, oh, I'm feeling good. What did I do? I did this. Oh, I need to do this more. And I don't know. Let's say you're having a bad day. And now I'm in a bad mood. And I realize that one of the reasons I'm in a bad mood is because this person is bothering me, someone I have a relationship with, any type of relationship. So when I'm upset, I text them an impulsive text. That's not always the best idea. Instead, what we should do is realize what the bad feelings are telling us. And then when we're calm, back to our normal stage, not necessarily happy or sad, send a constructive text if we still want to. Or if we realize we're upset about something, say something to them, but when we're back to normal. Instead of acting when we're feeling intense moments, we should be able to just realize what we're gaining from the knowledge of it. What is this telling me? What should I do with this? Not acting impulsively on it. I think that's big to being our true selves, because, of course, things are going to be all over the place. That's how life is. But if we can recognize and separate good feelings from values, like I said before, then we'll be able to be our true selves. And another way to access who we are is to be vulnerable. I could say this at least for guys, because I'm a guy. The way we're brought up in this world, guys, like in the media and even in like our schools, we're taught not to be vulnerable. I used to think it was just not to speak up about vulnerability, but I was talking with my rabbi the other week, and he made me realize it's not even that. It's not that we're afraid to talk about it. It's a step before, and it's dangerous. We're afraid to feel it. Maybe girls have this too, but I'm just speaking from what I know. We're afraid to feel our feelings. And if we can't feel them, we definitely can't talk of them. And I can't even express how much that slows us down. You're not being yourself. If you could be vulnerable, find your outlet, but being vulnerable is a part of life. We all have struggles, and we all have to deal with our struggles. But if we're not being vulnerable, we're never going to grow. We're never going to break our comfort zones. And breaking your comfort zone is so important because when you break it, you don't really break it. You kind of stretch it. And next time you're in an uncomfortable situation, when you stretch it the last time, that's your new comfort zone. You could keep making it bigger and bigger and bigger. And the more vulnerable you are, the more you get out of your comfort zone. And you're being more authentic when you're being vulnerable. It doesn't have to be always. And like I said, you could find the relationships where you feel more comfortable being vulnerable. But we have to feel and we have to talk. I feel like guys think it's strong to not feel your emotions, to not speak about what's bothering you, to not be emotional at all. But then they find a relationship. It could be with a girlfriend or, I don't know, maybe a parent or a close friend. And you see a lot of the time, I can say this for myself, maybe for other people, when a guy opens up, like he starts to cry. And that's not being weak. It's literally the opposite. It's being strong, because it is so much harder to speak about something that's dear to you, something that's personal, something that is bottled up. It is so much harder to do that than it is to bottle it up. And we're saying, oh, it's strong. You know, he doesn't cry. He doesn't deal with his emotions. It is weak. You're choosing the weaker option. If we want to be strong, if we want to be ourselves, we have to embrace vulnerability. And there's a video I saw last week that this really got to me. I watched a TikTok, and this TikTok was someone texting an AI, and I'm going to explain. He texted the AI, show me a $1 pancake. And the AI showed him a picture of a regular pancake. Then he said, show me a $10 pancake. It was a little nicer, a little more syrup. Then it was a $1,000 pancake. Now there was gold on it, and it was huge. Then it was $1 million pancake. Now it was like the biggest pancake in the world. There were diamonds all over it. And then the next one, he said to the AI, show me a priceless pancake. And it was a picture of a mom making his son pancakes. And the video I saw was a guy reacting to this AI video. He was just like going along with it because he makes reaction videos. And he started to get emotional when the price of the video was a mom making her son pancakes, because his mom died, and he started opening up about it. He's like, yeah, guys, like my mom died, and this actually really hits me, what I would give for one more meal with my mom. And he was tearing up a little bit. And then a minute later, he's like, guys, I'm sorry for getting emotional. I'm sorry for getting into that. And it bothered me. What did he do wrong? He really embraced something that was dear to him. It was public, but as a public figure, even especially for public figures, they think that they don't have to embrace vulnerability. We think sports players are all tough, but then we have sports players that are opening up about mental health. And same thing with this, especially from the public. I think it starts with them. If they could show that they could be vulnerable and that they could have struggles and be open with them, that we could do the same with ours, because these are the people we're watching. And I didn't like that this guy apologized for getting emotional about his mom. And for not for getting emotional, I didn't like that he apologized for talking about it, because he didn't do anything wrong. We have to do that. It's the only way we're being true to ourselves. Like I said, it breaks our comfort zone. It's hard. It's the harder option for sure, but it's a stronger option. It's a scarier option. But just because something's harder, just because something's scarier, doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. It's not an excuse. So here's a constructive reaction. Deal with your problems, but don't live in your problems, right? My life is good. Thank God. I'm very happy. And sometimes I get consumed in little BS, but then I see a sad news that someone died, and I'm like, whoa, I'm mad about this, but he just lost his life. Like, my life is a blessing. And it's important for me to think like that, but it really does help me, because yes, my problems are still valid. It doesn't matter if people are going through worse. I have my problems, and I need to deal with them constructively. But if I could deal with them and move on from them, then it's the best of both worlds. Being myself, I'm being vulnerable, I'm being constructive, I'm being honest, and I'm living a good life, and I'm growing. And that's a good key for us to deal with our problems. And also, if we don't deal with our problems, it becomes such an issue, and I'll tell you why right now. I experienced this, I think it was 2 weeks ago. Something was really bothering me, and I got distracted, and I didn't want to deal with it, so I kind of put it aside, and I didn't deal with it. And then the next day, I had a really good day, and I was really happy. And I was thinking to myself, how did I go from so sad to so happy just like that? And I realized that those were just the outside factors. Like, something really bothered me. No, the first day was more. Something like internal bothered me. But then the next day, the outside factors were good. I was having a good day. But then the next day, that kind of faded. And I felt really confused. I'm like, wait, am I happy? Am I sad? If we don't deal with our problems, we're just going to feel lost. Because anything that's not built from the inside isn't going to last. And anything we don't deal with is going to keep poking at us. So it's so important to deal with our issues, because if we don't, we're not going to be living a true life. Like I said, I experienced in that few day thing. We're going to be happy, upset, but with an underlying confusion that is toll taking, or I don't know how to say it. It takes a toll on us. That sounds better. It takes a toll on us, and it's going to bring us down. We have to deal with what's in front of us. I'm telling you guys, I've learned to do this, and it's made the most difference in my life. And I love growth, and I think everyone should care about growth. And if you're looking for a place to start, here it is. Listen right now if you're looking for a place to start growing. Start with giving, okay? The word give, the way you say that in Hebrew is natan. Nun, tough, nun. And it's spelled the same way, forwards and backwards. And why is that? And the rabbi gives a nice answer. Because when you give, you're getting. It really goes both ways. And I can relate to that. And I have a lot of friends that could relate to it too. This past summer, I worked in Camp Hask. Truly one of a kind, unique, special experience. And I did a lot for my campers. They had special needs, and we had to help them change and shower in the bathroom, take them here, take them there. My campers were a little higher functioning. I had some friends that had some campers that were in wheelchairs that had to feed them through G-tubes and carry them and fully dress them. We really did a lot for these campers. And every single one of us will tell you that these campers gave us by far more than we gave them. When you give, you get. Natan, it goes both ways. So here's a cycle. You start with giving. When you give, you get. And then when you get, you grow. And then when you grow, you give. It's a cycle that could go forever and ever. I'm going to say it again. When you give, you get. When you get, you grow. When you grow, you give. And each time you repeat the cycle, you're doing it at a higher level than you were before. And growth it's the best. To me, it's the best feeling, because I'm taking my values, I'm taking the good parts about myself, and I'm taking them to the higher level. I'm seeing how something I struggle with is now something I'm conquering. Something I was doing, I'm now doing at a higher level. And that's the goal in life, to grow into our shoes, to grow into ourselves. And if we're not being ourselves, we're stealing from ourselves. We're stealing from the world, though, more than ourselves, because I've said this before. If we're not being ourselves, what are we even doing? Everyone likes to look at each other's lives, social media. Oh, this person, this. Compare yourself to other people. I literally learned in a class tonight, comparing yourself to another person is the downfall. It slows you down. When you compete with yourself, that's when you reach new heights. It could be in sports. Playing by yourself is usually, if you're shooting around, you'll usually hit the most shots in a row. It could be in the gym. When you compete with yourself, you become your best. So we have to do that. We have to be ourselves. We have to compete with ourselves only so we could be ourselves, because we offer our unique angle in this world that nobody else could offer. And I truly believe that is our purpose in this world, to offer the world our unique angle. By not being you, by not taking the work to figure out who you are to be you, I truly believe you're not fulfilling the reason that you're here. So I hope that we can all be ourselves, and that we can all grow into who we want to be and who we can be. And guys, this is very important what I'm about to say. If you were spacing out and you still made it here, listen out, because this is big. A lot of the times I struggle with in the moment pleasures. It could be with something like drinking, right? I don't mind drinking. I like drinking, but I want to do it when it's occasional, on the weekends, I don't know, on a good night. And the other night I went to a bar for someone's birthday, for my friend's birthday, and I didn't want to drink, but I wanted to go for my friend's birthday. While we were there, I really wanted to drink, but because I told myself I didn't want to, it became a value of mine. The value there was self-control. by focusing in on the value of self-control, I wanted to be more in control more than I wanted to drink. Yet, in the moment, it's still hard to drink. To see what's in front of you, to see a pleasure in front of you, and to not do it is the hardest thing. But a lot of times, we have to recognize that what's in front of us, and we have to be honest, is it a temporary pleasure or is it a real pleasure? Real pleasures come from values because that's what's going to stick. When we do something that resonates with who we are, it feels good because we're growing. It feels good automatically. But when we do something that's temporary, that we don't want to be involved in, it feels good for exactly what I just said, temporary. 10, 20 minutes later, it doesn't feel good at all. So the key is to look past the moment. Look past that temporary pleasure and say, what am I getting from this? Because I said this to a friend also last week. We were talking about this. What you're getting from a temporary pleasure, if you don't give into that, what are you getting? You're passing up on a temporary pleasure for what? And the answer is you're passing on a temporary pleasure for a real pleasure. Like I said, the perfect example. I didn't want to drink, and I didn't drink, and then I realized after that I stuck to my self-control. That was a real pleasure. I went to sleep happy that night. If I drank, I would have had fun for an hour and then honestly been upset that I didn't live to my value. We have to look past the moment because when we look past a temporary pleasure, it's a real pleasure that awaits us. And that's the hardest test because a temporary pleasure, it's in our face. We want it so badly. But it's beautiful because when we fight past that, it's real. It's real pleasure. So I wish us all the best, that we could really look past what's in front of us and see what's a little more ahead, because a lot of the time it could be better. And I learned this with a rabbi yesterday, and I just want to talk about it. Every single trait, every single mita action, it can be good or bad. And it's interesting to think about. He asked me a question. He knew the answer, but he wanted me to answer it. I didn't know the answer, but now I do. So let's go into it. How could every action be good and bad? How could it be good to be lazy? And I'm like, Rav, I don't know. How could it be good to be lazy? And the answer is connected to what I just spoke about. If we could be lazy when it comes to doing bad things, right? Like I want to drink, but you know what? By the way, I sound like an alcoholic. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm just using this as an example. It's the most kosher-friendly one, but keeping it real. So that's why I'm using it. But so if I could be lazy about drinking, I don't want to drink tonight. It's not going to make me feel so good. I don't want to do all this. It's not good. That's what being lazy is. Being lazy is saying we have to be lazy about temporary pleasures. It's like you're lazy to get up in the morning. Be lazy to not get up in the morning, right? Being lazy, I don't want to get up. It's not going to feel good to get up. But if I could think when I'm sleeping, it's not going to feel good to go back to sleep and wake up in 3 hours. That is so good to be lazy about. And that's a better example than the drinking. Be lazy about things that are bad for us. We really could take every trait and make it positive. Let's wrap it up. How can we be our true selves? One is that we have to properly differentiate moods from values. That's what we have to do. We have to be ourselves. We have to act on values, not act on how we feel. How we feel is not who we are. That's the bottom line. We have to be vulnerable. We have to find someone we trust, and we have to talk to them. And we have to embrace our struggles and work through them while not living in them. Embrace the comfort zone. And we have to break our comfort zone, because the more we break the comfort zone, the more comfortable we're going to be. And in the moment, it's hard to see little growth, but you keep breaking your comfort zone. In a few months, you look back from where you started and you're like, wow, here I am. It's like when in the gym, you don't see your progress right away, but a few months later, you see where you started and where you are now, whole new world. So same thing with the comfort zone. And we have to value true pleasures, not temporary pleasures. And a good way to do that is to channel negative feelings or emotions or attributes into positive ones. And we have to be consistent with ourselves. And if we do all this, we can live a meaningful life, be who we are. And that's what I want to talk about today, being our true self. So let's take our lessons. Let's be honest with ourselves, and let's be who we're meant to be. Let's be who we can be. Let's be who we want to be. I'll see you guys next time.